Reflection and Mbonga Shita on the...
Well, they say age ain't nothing but a number. Is that true or isn't that true? We've got Philip Skuman in studio, broker and owner of REMAX, and he will clear the air for us. Philip, good morning. How are you doing?
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So age ain't nothing but a number when it comes to property?
Age is definitely a number when it comes to property and bond applications. One bond type we didn't touch on last week was a further advance. Okay, that is you having a bond already and you've built in equity, you've owned your property for a while, you owe the bank less than it's worth, the property's worth. Therefore, you can now gain the access, okay, to that equity that you, and that's called a further advance or a second bond on your, a second bond is what they would usually discuss. So that's one aspect we haven't discussed last week. Right, now to get to age being a number, even in a further advance or any bond that you're going to apply for, the bank looks at it from a risk point of view. So the bank wants you to, 3 of the 4 major commercial banks want you to end your bond at 75, at the age of 75. So if you were 60 when you applied, you have 15 years and an increased monthly bond amount. Whereas if you were 55, you still had 20 years left on your bond, you could pay it over. Now, if you were young enough, the bank even gives you a 30-year loan, okay, which sounds stupid, but it's not necessarily. The idea is to, and we spoke about how do you leverage a bond to create wealth for yourself, and this is how. Basically, when you take out a bond, you are saying to the bank, I'll accept the risk of this payment, and I'm going to generate income using a tenant's money. Okay, in most cases, and you obviously are going to run it this way, and you're going to be less of a risk. Now, if you are call it let's say you are 17 years old, you're not old enough to take out a bond for yourself. You can use your parents to stand surety for you. Okay, we can purchase the property in your personal name. Okay. As a 17-year-old, all we need is a letter of emancipation from the High Court. Your proper agent can sort that out for you, or conveyancing attorney can sort that out for you, so that you can sign for this bond. Okay. Well, you're not signing you're signing for the bond, but your parents are signing surety. So that's one way you can do it. People can also add all their collectives because they look at your debt to income ratio, your risk as a player. Your incomes, how have you been paying, what's your credit history. Remember, I spoke a lot about the banks are willing to override their minimum requirements if you are a good payer or if you have a very strong financial portfolio. If you are 70 years old and they want your bank to your bond to end at 75, you've got 5 years to pay it. Okay, so if your credit profile is strong enough, they'll give you a 15-year or 20-year bond. They'll override their minimum requirements. And that's the point I'm trying to make. But for the most people in the economy, it's not like that. We are beholden to the bank. We need them. And yes, we do. Because the more bonds you have, and this is where it gets to playing it to your benefit. Now, let me use an example. And I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. I can run you through the sums in detail, but if I take out a bond now for 1 million, odds are that bond's going to be 3.2, or that house is going to be worth 3.2 million in 20 years, 3.4 million, and I would have paid roughly about 3 million for it. So I've created, just by owning this property, wealth of 400k over the space of 20 years. That's just to own it, just to accept the risk. Now, probably the property will be worth a lot more, and we have not taken into account the rental income that you've generated, which is your liquid ROI. Now, if we add these things together, we can generally give you a 14% return on investment if you add capital growth and liquid return to each other. And to get 14% in year 1 is not a bad, where else you're going to invest your money for that kind of return? You're not going to do it at this point. And that's year 1. Year 2, it goes up. Year 3, year 4, year 5. So the idea is to have as many bonds, and get this, because your enemy is not the purchase price, like I said, it's time. And at what age do you secure a bond? The answer is as early as possible. You don't have time to waste when it comes to buying property. It's not hurry. It's not, what's that saying? It's buy property and wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait
to buy
property.
Yeah.
Don't wait to buy. Never.
Yeah. In fact, you may even die hoping to own property.
Amen, brother. And a lot of us will die with that hope and wish and dream because we never take the risk.
For sure.
So what I'm trying to say is, the more bonds you can handle and stomach as a young person, the better for you, because you will be sitting on that future value that you've created now. Remember, there's a saying in real estate: you don't make your money when you sell, you make your money when you buy. And the point is securing that bond as soon as possible. To give you an example, I was still living with my mother, and then I took out my first bond.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. We should be doing these things. Taking out as many bonds as we can as a young person who can stomach risk. The older we get, the less risk we can stomach. Now we've got kids, we've got a portfolio to look after. We can't be taking the same amounts of risks. By then, we need income generating property to assist us to grow our portfolio. We need essentially a second wife. Because every single property you purchase is a second wife. It's going to earn you an income, and you don't have all the expectations. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't take it too far. if we try to break that down, it's going to be a problem.
This could be, be problematic.
Yeah, let's not break that down. Thank you so much, Philip Skuman, broker and owner of REMAX.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.